Hey, this is Jill Simonello with Pickup Truck Plus SUV Talk, and today we are looking at the Subaru Outback. But in case you missed it, this is an Outback that's not like an Outback you've ever seen before. This is the 2022 Subaru Outback Wilderness, and in case you haven't noticed by some of the cladding in the background, it's special. It is more capable and it has some really cool things on it. So we're going to flip the camera around and we're going to talk about what makes this vehicle different and a little bit more. From the front of the vehicle, you can see very clearly this has a different grille. So you know, they were telling us it's kind of like a chrome delete. So you won't really see any chrome on the exterior of this vehicle. That includes the grille. It has a really nice honeycomb pattern to it that is different than other Outbacks. You'll also notice that the fog lamps have been moved so that they won't get damaged when you're in an off-road situation. You will also notice throughout the vehicle that there are some bronzy accents, and those are functional accents. Like it's denoting a functional piece. So this is the tow hook cover there, and you'll see it again on the roof rails where there are tie downs. But then once you move to the inside, you will notice that it is more of a design thing than a functional thing. Okay, the big thing that you're going to notice, however, is, hey, look at how big that cladding is everywhere. So you see it moved up on the front, you see it here around the wheel wells, a lot more cladding, you know, here on the side of the vehicle, as well as you move around to the back, lots of cladding to protect from mud, rocks, ruts, and all those things you're going to encounter in an off-road area, which, by the way, we did today. Let's see if I can show you. There's also a skid plate under here, and that is new and specific to the Wilderness model. There are also some available skid plates that you can purchase. I think they're like about $129 each that cover, you know, your various transmission, engine, fuel tank areas of the vehicle. But those are optional features, but that one that I just showed you, that is standard. So another way you're going to tell this vehicle apart is this anti-glare. It's got like a little anti-glare decal, I guess, if you will, on the front. So when you're off-roading, you don't get blinded by the light when you're pointed upwards, which, by the way, we were several times on this beautiful course here in the Detroit, Michigan area. All right, the wheels. These wheels are also special. They are 17-inch all-terrain tires, and they are unique to the Wilderness model. I guess while we're here, I will also point out that this gets increased ground clearance. So there's 9.5 inches of ground clearance, which I think they said during the presentation was more than a Ford F-150. I think that's kind of impressive. So here you are again, you have some more of those bronzy accents. You'll also see it in the Wilderness badge. And then here you've got it on your roof rails. Now, these roof rails are actually pretty special because rather than your standard roof rails, these are ladder style roof rails. I'm probably not quite tall enough to show you what that looks like. But if you look over on this vehicle over here, it is what these ladder style roof rails do is it makes it possible for you to put safely a tent on top. So in a static position, those roof rails can manage 700 pounds. So that's enough for 2 average sized adults and some of their gear. In a driving situation, so while you're driving, if you're trying to put stuff on top up here, I believe they said it was 220 pounds. Something else I would like to point out, let's see if we will open this up. And this is really cool back here. You have on the back of those seats, that is actually like cleanable. So instead of being a cloth material, owners put bikes back here, they put muddy gear back here, and what they really wanted was a seat back that was actually washable. So there you go, it is. And then also to point out back here, you have a full-size spare tire underneath here. So if you are off-roading and manage to find yourself having hit a rock, hey, this is a 1-to-1 tire. So it also has a tire pressure sensor in addition to just being an identical tire to what is on the vehicle, and it's stowed underneath the floor here. Something else that sets this vehicle apart is this right here. This is an LED light that will not only light up your cargo area, but the area surrounding the vehicle back here. So if you've been biking at a trail and you come back and it's already getting dark and you're in the middle of nowhere, you open up this hatch and you've got this really nice LED light that will light things up as you are trying to load things back into your vehicle. So we will shut this. Ah. Well, that was very polite of it. And take a look. We'll take a look on the inside, because there are also some nice unique features in here as well. So you will also see, again, in terms of styling, the bronze accents come to the interior of the vehicle. It does come standard with the up-level 11.6-inch screen, and it looks really nice. I'll turn it on and get some B-roll of it, but it manages to do a vertical version of Apple CarPlay, and that is really nice. So instead of being a split screen, you know, with a horizontal application, it actually does a vertical application of Apple CarPlay that looks really nice. So you've got your bronze accent on the shift. You've got a bronze accent on the wheel. I have it turned sideways. I know, I'm sorry, you OCD people out there. I did have it turned sideways so that I could have the wheel in a position from the exterior to take pictures. I'm sorry. And then you have more Subaru Wilderness badging. We've got these great all-season mats, so you can put your muddy boots in here and it's going to be fine. You have more of that bronze accent stitching here. Something else that is going to be different is the seating surfaces. So these are not leather. These seats are, I think they call them like StarTex material, so leatherette material. But what that means is it's water resistant and really easy to clean. So again, when you're bringing muddy gear in here, you're not going to have to fret about expensive leather getting dirty. And you'll see the bronze stitching again. And something else to point out, these seats are unique to the Wilderness model, and this honeycomb pattern here is also, matches the grille, but unique to the Wilderness version of the Subaru Outback. So let me step inside here for a second, and we'll just kind of check this out. So it doesn't have wireless charging. As you can see, I was actually using a cord, but it has two USB-A ports up here, and what I really appreciate is there's a slot here to put your phone, so you don't have to use the cup holders to do that. That is key and definitely appreciated. You have a decent sized little console here, or cubby in your armrest. And something else I want to point out that Subaru does really well is the materials that they use are really, they feel good. So it doesn't feel like, okay, so this feels a little plasticky, but it has a nice texture to it and it looks good. But this is soft. You can see like my finger is pressing into it. So it's a soft dash material, and then it has that great stitching. And the soft touch carries through to the armrests and the doors. And you know what's really nice about it, and we'll step into the back seat, and Subaru again is really good about this, they didn't cheap out in the back seat. So again, you still have this nice soft touch material, the attractive stitching, and you know, you're not going to be in a penalty box when you sit back here, because the materials are upgraded back here similar to how they are upgraded on the front seat. So, all right, and again, you can see the waffle honeycomb pattern here on the seats back here. So I'm just going to step back here really quick and show you. I have a decent amount of leg room here as well. This seat is pushed far back, and you know, I have a solid 6 to 8 inches between my knee and the back of the seat. Plenty of foot room. Also back here, you've got heated seats as well as 2 charge ports. Yeah, this is going to be a comfortable place to be. You don't have adjustable HVAC back here, but you do have the air vents, and you can adjust those as well as, you know, turn them on and off. So I can appreciate that. That's I think that's a pretty good scenario that they've got going on here. And the seats are comfortable. In terms of the moonroof, you just have, it's not panoramic, just covers the front seats, but it doesn't bother me. That's fine. All right, so that is the Subaru Outback Wilderness. Take another quick look here at the front from the back. And I am going to wrap this up with a couple of driving impressions. So just some quick impressions of driving off-road. So first off, who would think that an Outback could do some of the things that we have been doing? There are some serious inclines, some serious declines, and we did a couple of really good breakover angles. And this vehicle has increased ground clearance, so it's 9.5 inches. I believe it's up from 8.7. In addition to all the extra cladding, there is a standard skid plate underneath the front, and there are some available skid plates, which thankfully this vehicle has, because I definitely felt like I was hitting something at some points. So definitely a lot of fun off-road and a surprising amount of capability. If you're looking for a vehicle that is capable as well as has very decent on-road manners, loving this. All right, I have already given you some off-road driving impressions. Now I want to wrap this up with some on-road driving impressions, and this is actually pretty good. Now, this is an Outback, and so that means that people are probably going to be using this as an everyday driver. And so you don't want a lot of outside noise creeping into the cabin. You don't want a rough ride, which is why they chose the 17-inch tires instead of doing something a little bit more knobby and off-roady looking. These are all-terrain tires. They work really well. And yeah, okay, so a little bit of tire noise is going to creep into the cabin, but nothing that is going to be terribly bothersome. I think the on-road manners of this vehicle are very good, and I really like the EyeSight safety system. It does a very good job with the adaptive cruise control and keeping you in your lane while you are driving on a highway. The adaptive cruise control is also naturally responsive, so it doesn't jerk to a stop if somebody cuts you off. It's much more of a natural brake, more like you would do if you were braking because a vehicle cut you off. It's not, necessarily a slam on the brake. It's more of a gradual easing off, and this vehicle does that pretty well. I think the seats are comfortable. I like the visibility. I think the A-pillars are pretty small, so they don't hinder your visibility out the corners, and you're not going to get huge blind spots, especially if you're at a four-way stop and you need to see into a crosswalk. So I have to, at this point, tell you, I've literally only had about an hour behind the wheel here, 30 minutes on road and about 30 minutes off road. So these are really just first impressions. And frankly, I haven't found anything that I don't like. There's nothing that jumps out at me and says, "Ugh, this is horrible." A lot of likes. I like the 11-point-inch screen. I love the fact that there's vertical integration with Apple CarPlay. The eyesight system, adaptive cruise control, safety stuff works pretty well and isn't terribly obtrusive. Some stuff is really obtrusive. This isn't. And it just, again, does really well. So this is one of those vehicles that you can use to maybe not, go crazy in an off-road situation, but you can do some pretty aggressive off-roading in this vehicle, especially with the increased ground clearance. But you're not going to be ashamed to keep this as an everyday driver, or afraid to keep it as an everyday driver, because you're going to get pretty decent fuel economy. I've been getting just a little more than 20 miles per gallon, but I mean, right now I'm down to 18, but that's because I did a lot of slow crawling in an off-road area for a half an hour. And they say that you should get about 24 miles per gallon in combined driving, and I would buy that. And so that makes this one of those kind of no compromise kind of vehicles, because you get some really good off-road capability, but then this turns into a daily driver without any qualms or problems. You're going to have a comfortable ride as well as a capable ride with some really cool functionality. So, first impressions? I really like the Subaru Outback Wilderness, and I'm really glad they created it. All right, so thanks for taking a quick first look at this vehicle with me, and I will see you down the road.